Hey guys, how's it going? How's everyone doing today? It's Marty, just dropping in to say, hey, how's it going? How's everyone doing? And on the day that we are recording this, Happy National Dog Day! Woo 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 woo! We love dogs. We love dogs. If you've even watched one of my videos, you probably know how much I love my dog. Her name is Soma. She's about 6 years old. She occasionally makes a cameo back on the futon behind me. She's currently at my feet right now. I would have loved for her to jump up on my lap so she can intro this with me, but she refuses to sit in the janky computer chair, and I really don't blame her. It is not comfortable. Maybe eventually we'll look into like an ergonomic one, but at this time, we get what we get and we don't throw a fit, alright? So, yes, happy National Dog Day. I thought it would be a lot of fun to just kind of jump on and do like a mini story time of how we got Soma. Talked a little bit about this before, but when we, as in my husband and I, first moved into our home, he was only my boyfriend back then, and we got our first home together, and we were very excited to make it our own space, as you do with your partner. And he had his cat, now our cat, Bond, handsome tuxedo. Again, I've tried to show him on the channel before. And that was really exciting. We moved in and we were the threesome, the Three Musketeers, a dynamic trio, if you will. But as someone who grew up in a family who always had our lifelong companions, cats and dogs, I had been raised in a household that always loved animals and was surrounded by them. They were a big part of my life growing up. And when I had moved out, we still had our family dogs in the home. Obviously, they were our family dogs, so when my brother moved out, he wasn't taking them. When I moved out, I wasn't taking them. They remained home with our parents, as they should, and we're still involved in their lives once we moved out. But they're the family animals. So I would say the biggest adjustment to moving in together, even though it was very exciting and blissful, was there was no dog in the home, right? There was my wonderful cat, or, my soon-to-be wonderful cat, Goofy Bond. But it wasn't the same. All of a sudden, I went from a home with a lot of volume, a lot of activity, a lot going on, to a very quiet space. So if my husband wasn't home, and I was just home with Bond, or, Bond was off doing his own thing, and I was just kind of home from work or whatever, it was so quiet. And I do remember one day crying. My poor husband. He was just kind of like, what's going on? Why are you sad? What's the deal? Bless his heart. And I kind of explained, I don't know, just something feels off. As much as I was loving our new home and we were kind of making it our own together, it just felt like something was missing. And he, right away, suggested us potentially putting in an adoption application at our local animal shelter. And right away I said no, even though I was a big dog lover. And he's always been more of the cat guy. Like, he grew up and had a dog when he was a kid. But he had always leaned more into cats. So I think he was almost excited at the prospect of having his own dog for the very first time. So he really encouraged me because I was so hesitant. I was like, no, I'm betraying the family dogs. I can't do it. I won't do it. It's just not on the horizons for me at this time. And that's where I stood for a minute. And then talking to my parents. And then I remember talking to my dad specifically, this is so funny because if anybody knows my dad, like, he's not really one to get all mushy or emotional or sappy. But I remember him saying, you guys just bought this home, your first home. If you have the space, you're set up to do it. You have a fenced in yard. Not that that's a requirement, but it is a nice benefit to our space. You have the fenced in yard, and you have enough love in your heart to have the family dogs at home and a dog in your own home that is just yours. And I think that was a big tipping point for me. I wasn't quite ready to commit, but I had seen my friend, all these things were aligning. I had seen my friend who worked at our local animal shelter, and I remember just kind of talking to her a little bit and, running into her like, oh, we're thinking about maybe putting in an application, but we're not sure. And she was just like, do it. Just do it. It stays on file for a year. It's not a commitment, but it's, a foot in the door when you guys decide that you're ready, or if something just aligns and you're the right fit for the animal, you'll already be set up. Just do it. Talked to my husband again, and I decided, okay, we'll fill out the application. And I knew right away, because we had bond. I don't know that I've ever spoke of this before. Very unfortunately, he does have seizures, which is very sad. It was one of those things, my husband got him not knowing what his health history was. He took him because he was in a situation that was not good for him, so he just took bond in, and then realized very quickly that he did have some health problems. I'm happy to say he does very well. We do our best with our vet to manage everything. But a big thing for us was if we were going to bring another animal into the home, since Bond hadn't really had a lot of exposure to other animals, and he did have the health stuff going on, we kind of wanted to start younger. Even though I love senior dogs, I was kind of thinking, well, maybe something younger that he can have a hand in raising, or cat. I know I sound crazy. He can have a hand in raising, we can raise, they'll understand what this looks like, So we put our application in, and pretty quickly I actually got a text from my friend, and there was actually a really unfortunate, tragic circumstance. I won't get too much into the details, but fairly locally, there was a hoarding situation of animals, and it was devastating. And our shelter, and I believe a couple of others, were in the position where they were able to get the animals out safely. They seized the animals, and then they were sheltering them, doing what they could to better these animals' lives, enrichment, health, wellness, all of the things, love. They just needed love, and they needed people who could act quickly and act in the favor of the animals. So they were now in the position, they as in the shelter, they had to start, figuring out a way to get these animals homes, fosters, homes, all that kind of stuff, as they came into the ability to do so. And they were really particular on who they wanted to adopt out to, as they always should be. But this was definitely a high stress, whole different level of a situation. And my friend did end up texting me, and she said, we did end up with this many dogs, this many cats, this situation. And in particular, there was a litter of puppies that came in, and they were so young. They were so young that at first you couldn't even really tell what they were. And she was like, they're going into a foster home to, gain weight, make sure the health is good. When it comes time, do you want to meet them? This could be a really good fit. And I was just like, yes, we will meet. It spoke a lot. I just felt really grateful that she reached out to me. I know we had put our application in, but it was such a, again, stressful scenario for that whole shelter, for the community in general, to find these animals their best fit in their forever homes and make sure that they never saw neglect or harm again. So when she reached out to me, I just was like, yes, okay, this is aligning. This is meant to be. I'll definitely meet. So when the time came, I believe it was in January, we met the puppies that were in the litter, and there was 3 of them. There was 2 little white, and I think they had some black spots, and one like brown, kind of red merle looking. For a backstory, if you guys haven't seen her, I'll just hold up my phone case. This is Soma. This is my dog. So, although my local shelter does not label breeds, right? That everybody's a mixed breed, because truly you never know. I mean, you can do DNA testing down the road, but when they get them in, they don't always know their history. A lot of people think she's mini Aussie or Aussie, some kind of mix of Australian Shepherd. So we met the litter, and my husband and I were both there, and we even got to meet their mom, birth mom, my mom now, but I'm very grateful for her. We got to meet all of them, and that was just such a cool experience. I just remember, holding all of them, but I remember holding her, and she just curled right into my chest. And, I told my husband, because again, he was really like the driving force, like, apply, we should adopt, this is the right timing. I of course thought they were all adorable. They're these beautiful puppies who need a home. All of them were worthy of everything in the world. So I asked him, like, what, who are you thinking? What are you feeling? And it was very evident what he was feeling, because the two puppies would kind of play by themselves, the white puppies, and then our little girl kept coming up to us, and he just kept picking her up and picking her up and picking her up. And I was just like, you're not saying anything, but I can tell who it is. And I felt that too. Again, they're a bunch of little puppies. They're all going to be adorable. They're all going to go to wonderful homes. But there was just something that felt serendipitous with this little girl. And so, we let her know, yes, we would love to move forward with an adoption. She was still too young to go home. So they let us know what the estimated age they had was for her at the time. Turns out she was a little bit younger. So she did have to stay in her foster home and in care with her mother until March. And in March, her day of adoption was March 6th. I remember I had just started a new job, and I worked like a mid-shift. So I couldn't go pick her up. My husband got to, and I was so devastated, but it was one of those things where it was a brand new job. I couldn't get the day off. I wasn't going to call in. That's just something I do my best not to do in general as a person who's worked for a while now. Never want to leave anybody shorthanded, but I was so excited, and then I was so gutted that I couldn't, but I knew she was in good hands, and she was coming home either way. So when I got to go home that night, she was gonna be there. And when I walked through the door, like, they had the whole day together. So I'm like, okay, well, as much as I'm gonna love this dog, like, she's gonna already have that little, when the bird hatches from the egg, it imprints on someone. She's going to have already imprinted on my husband, and that's fine. No. When I walked through the door, all hope was lost for my husband having his dog. I mean, my heart was never so full, and I have loved many animals, and I still do. But she and I just instantly inseparable. I remember we were going to crate train, and there's nothing wrong with that. Crate training is fantastic. If it works out for you, it can be a dog's safe space. It can be a good way for them to get in their own space if they need to. It's a wonderful thing to do. I was a sucker. I gave the first night, I laid in bed and cried because I was just like, she doesn't want to be in the crate. And again, you have to feel out what's best for you, your family, the animal. But what was best for me was that dog was coming to bed. And she has spent every night with me since. With the exception of, I think, one when I was in a hospital and one when I was in a work trip. And those were devastating nights for me because I literally remember being like, she's not going to understand why I'm not there. She did fine, though, by the way. But Yeah, so we got to adopt her in March. We were instantly besties for the resties. And I cannot say enough about the love of a dog. You know, dogs are amazing creatures. You know, they are literally in active combat. They search for missing people, and yet they're also gentle enough to snuggle with a baby. There- There's so much good in them. They can see so much and have been through so much and forgive so much and have so much love in their heart. And that's unlike any other thing, truly. My dog has been everything to me, all jokes aside. You know, and these are very superficial things, if I've gained weight, if I've lost weight, if my skin is broken out, if my skin is clear, if I'm having a really high day or a very low day, she has seen me in my highest points and happiest times, and she has seen me in my lowest points in some sad days. She looks at me the exact same way every day. She meets me exactly where I'm at and presents me with the same amount of love. If I'm happy, sad, mad, like, I'm still absolutely her person, and she levels with me every time. She is always in my corner. She is always on my side. You know, she is always on my team, and that is amazing. That is unconditional love, and most people don't get that with people, even soulmates and loves of their lives. Like, my dog is everything. So I make a lot of jokes about, oh, bestie for the restie, but truly, you know, I know that realistically, not to take a bleak turn, we don't always have our animals as long as we would like. You know, they don't necessarily have as long of a lifespan as we would obviously hope for them to, but they truly touch us every day, and they're so felt. When they are here and when they are gone, we are forever changed by their love. I hope everyone has the opportunity to experience that kind of love at least once in their lifetime. I know I feel that kind of love from her so deeply and profoundly, and I'm a better person for having adopted her and having the opportunity to get to adopt her and have her in our home, in our lives forever now. You know, I think she is just the truest, purest form of love. And I just want to say, Happy National Dog Day. If you are looking and able to add to your family or start your fur family, consider adoption. You know, look into your local shelters. While I am by no means shaming, putting anyone down, I'm not saying there are not reputable breeders, but if you can adopt from a shelter, that's wonderful. If you're looking for a specific breed, that's not necessarily anything I've ever looked for, but some people do. There are breed-specific rescues in a lot of areas that I would consider too. You know, there is so much of an overabundance of animals who need love. Cats, dogs, everything in between. There are so many beautiful souls to pick from. So if you can adopt, that is amazing. I highly recommend. 10 out of 10. And if you could foster, you know, that's another great way to be able to be a part of their lives. If it's not even a forever home, to just give them that chance and that opportunity to be in a space that they can see what a home life is like. Some of them never have. And it's really set them up for that forever success in the future. So yeah, just a little fun video to talk about one of the great loves of my life, Soma. You guys have a wonderful, happy National Dog Day. Thank you so much for watching today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!